Oh, what are we? Today's Thursday, tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow the trip starts. Can't believe how many things there are to organise. Accommodation en route for those first few days. A charter flight also over Lake Eyre. Going Flinders Ranges, there's a number of tracks also. And most of those tracks are on private property or stations. So they need to be booked as well. Right now, because travel is restricted, all over the world, it means that local travel has become really important. A lot of people are traveling, so accommodation is scarce. We're pretty much self-sufficient with the camper trailer and also the roof tent on the Truby here. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it'd be nice to get a bit of accommodation along the way, particularly in these outback towns where they're always full of characters. The people there, it's great meeting the people. The scenery is fantastic, and it's nice to have a bit of luxury every now and then in the hotel accommodation. Some of these old hotels or hotels that have been put together with scrap metal. It's all part of the character of Central Australia. Well, here we are in Jindabyne, so about 300 kilometres from Sydney, and this is where I'll be kipping the night and meeting up with Vicki and Steve either tonight or tomorrow for their orientation day. Get to know the four-wheel drive, get to know all the camping equipment, etc. And then on Sunday we continue on our journey west towards the desert and towards Flinders Ranges. Good morning. I'm in Jindabyne, so first 500 kilometres I suppose, and it's a beautiful day. It was cold last night, went down to 2 degrees in Jindabyne, so you go out to Central Australia and you think, it's going to be hot, but you forget that the nights are so cold. I'm going to have to get some fingerless gloves to get that morning photography. So peaceful. I'm actually at a campsite here in Jindabyne, which is right on Lake Jindabyne, so it's a great place to stay. If you weren't up already this morning, I'm sure the crows would just remind you that it's time to get up and time to get going again. It's 6:15. Time to have some breakfast and get on the road. Oh, it's been a long day. It's approaching 5 o'clock in the evening. Covered 700 kilometres today, and about 10 hours of driving. A place called Balranald in western New South Wales. Yes, only the best accommodation tonight. I'm not sure whether Vicky's convinced, but anyway, there you go. Staying at the Shamrock Motel. It's a great place. This is typical of Australian outback. We've got semis coming through at night time. Road trains. I guess the road trains will get even bigger as we go further out west. But it's been a great day, and had dinner here at the motel. Well, at the hotel actually. It's a hotel as well at the back of this motel. Met some wonderful characters, Neville and Graham. And I guess the great thing about travel is that all the people that you meet, before you know it, you've got new destinations to go to. Graham's in Moonta, in York Peninsula in South Australia. All right, so wrap up for the first day. Well, actually first day with Steve and Vicki. Tomorrow we've got another big day, 900 kilometres. We're going from here to Mildura, then up to Broken Hill. places like, and then across to South Australia, Peterborough. We have to get supplies before we end up in Skytrek Willow Springs Station. Steve and Vicki.
Hello there.
Hello there.
From Lake Crackenback Resort in New South Wales. Steve and Vicki experience travellers, hikers, adventurers from all over the world. Why are you on this trip?
To explore Australia.
Yes, to explore the great outdoors.
We're going to Central Australia. Now, you had a choice of either doing this yourself or what. So what was your thinking behind this?
We're totally inexperienced and we wanted to go with an expert.
If you weren't sure who that was. Anyway, we're in Renmark right now, and one of the things I wanted to do was to have the famous South Australian pasty, which is right here. It's looking pretty good so far. What's so good about this, the way that used to be made was with chunky pieces of vegetable. And I noticed that in other places around Australia they make pasties with minced vegetables and meat, and it was disgusting. So I have this memory of how great this is, and I'm going to take my first bite to see whether it's really the way I remember it to be, or whether it goes straight into the bin. Here we go. Seagulls think it's a good idea.
What do you think?
It's got crunchy bits in there. It's not all minced up into slush, so I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. It could have gone down to 1 if it was all minced, so it's all right. I'll continue eating.
Should we be shopping here given?
We'll go to Peterborough.
Yeah.
We're in Flinders Ranges. It's taken us 3 days. We've now been a couple of days here in Flinders Ranges.
5 hours.
63 minutes.
There we go. The weather conditions have been good. It's been cold at night, down to about 5 or 6 degrees, but I think it's getting warmer as we're going further north. At this stage, weather conditions are looking really good. So Simpson Desert, hopefully, is still on. It depends on whether the water has gone through the desert, whether the salt pans are full of water, whether we can actually get through. We'll know as we get closer and closer to the Simpson Desert. The last rainfall that arrived here was probably about a month ago, and all came in one day, 80 millilitres of water, and just washed away down the creeks here. So nothing gets retained into the soil, so it's a really barren environment. Now we're on a Skytrek tour, which is part of Willow Creek Station. We're halfway through our self-guiding tour. So it's a four-wheel drive tour, about 80 kilometres long, and there's about 50 odd viewing points or points of interest along the track. And one of those is a discovery of some fossils. These are stromatolite fossils. Now what's so interesting about those, that's believed to be the earliest form of life, single cell life, starting some 2.7 to 3.4 billion years ago. I mean, the life of the universe is thought to be 14 billion. But anyway, it's up there in those billions of years. Some of my Adventure8 journeys have gone all over Australia, obviously, and one of those journeys goes to the very western tip of Western Australia, a place called Steep Point. Along the way, along the four-wheel drive tracks there are a number of bays where stromatolites are still growing. These single-cell organisms are still growing and forming mounds, and they are sort of large mounds that grow in the seawater, in the shallows, that are covered by the tide and then uncovered again. And they take millions of years to grow, just that much. They still exist, and there are fossils here. If we look up on the ridgeline there, we've got sedimentary rock that's been forced up through the ages. But then if we look down here, we start to see some of those vertical mounds that grow, take a long time. And I've noticed up there on the cliff edge over there, and if we have a closer look, we can see all sorts of weird shapes here growing. They sort of into these balls. Because all this used to be a part of an inland ocean before the Flinders Ranges started to get pushed up and get formed into these sort of structures that we see today. One of the most difficult sections of Skytrack, Willow Springs Station, and obviously with a camera you can't really see what's going on, but we are. I believe it's really steep. We are in low ratio first gear. We're still sort of bouncing around. We're still managing to get a little bit of traction, and we've still got a bit of a lip to go over. And Vicki, this is Vicki's first time in this sort of experience.
Possibly a last.
And her pants have turned brown.
And I can't believe they let tourists do this road. Another
oh my god, look at that up there.
50 meters to go. Holy Toledo! Yippee! Yay!
Carlos from Spain. And I'm Alan from Alicante, Spain as well.
Hi.
What's happening today?
We've chosen the wrong way, so we flat the tire. And this guy here saved our day. And thanks to him, we can keep traveling around. So we've been here like 30 minutes of training how to repair a tire today. And we passed the exam.
Fantastic, excellent. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you on the road.
See ya.
We're still in the Flinders Ranges. We're heading out of the Flinders Ranges now, and we're in a gorge called Brakina Gorge Road, and it's spectacular. We've spent most of the time on the east side of the Flinders Ranges, and we're $15 a pound, and then we're heading now through the ranges, and we're going to go around to the west side and then head up north towards Maree, where hopefully we'll be able to stay in the Maree Hotel and meet some of the locals before we journey on to William Creek and then do a charter flight over Lake Eyre and Painted Hill, I believe it's called. So we're going to actually land on we spent 4 days in the Flinders Ranges. Yeah, three nights, 4 days in the Flinders Ranges. You can see we're on the west side now, west side of the Flinders Ranges, and we've got beautiful outback Australia. And as you can imagine, as soon as you start heading west, it goes flat. Flat as the eye can see. Here's all part of the old Gang Railway that stretches all the way up to Darwin. I presume these were the workers' cottages, what's left of them. What can I tell you about flies? Well, my observation in Central Australia here is it's all got to do with temperature. Once you get to about 20 degrees, that's when the flies start coming out and start going crazy. So the other thing that flies don't like is smoke. So if you have a campfire, but why would you have a campfire when it's really warm? That's a problem. Now we're heading up north. And so scenic. I mean, just wherever you see look blue and red colours, it's great. We've had to rescue a couple of Spanish guys. We had a flat tyre, their jack was broken, they couldn't repair it. So we came to their rescue, that was fun. At least we were able to test out our gear and make sure everything's working. Now we're heading up north, so hopefully Simpson Desert is open. We're gonna, now they've got reception and radio communication, we'll be able to check to see exactly what tracks are open and start heading in that direction. But first we're going to go Maree, William Creek, and then Cooper Pedy. Well, here we are in Maree. So we're on the old Gang railway track, and I'm actually in one of these old diesel locomotives. Incredible, the size of these diesel engines. Incredible, you can imagine the noise that would be in here. And the heat from the exhaust pipe. That's a big locomotive. Transfers all this engine power into this huge electrical generator. Electricity generator, incredible. And it all goes into driving the wheels and the engine. Generator amps, 500 amps, 600 amps, what's this, 800 amps. So news has it that the Simpson Desert is supposed to be open. We're on the Oodnadatta track going up from Maree to William Creek. Like everything out in Central Australia, when there's any sort of landmark or unusual thing, you've got to stop and investigate. And here, probably about 40 kilometres outside of Maree, we've got a sculpture park. How creative can you be? A musical instrument coming up. A xylophone maybe? actually standing on the old Ghan Railway right now, and it just stretches on all the way down to Maree where we were before, and those old locomotives. But here on the old Ghan track, we've also got the Ghan hover bus. Yes, look at this. The old Ghan Railway was built by the Afghans, and hence the name Ghan. They used camel trains, and they needed Afghanistans who had knowledge of how to handle camels, how to breed them, how to use them to construct the construct the Ghan Railway. The new Ghan Railway is built about 100 or 200 kilometers west of here, going up to Alice Springs and also going right up to Darwin. But here we are, the hover bus. Enjoy the ride. It's exciting. Yes, we've got a bit of wildlife here. And we've got some ancient artworks. Check them out. I think it's got a special type of power supply. I call it the Imagine Juice. Imagine flying around the place. On the edge of Lake Eyre. It's almost a kilometre walk down there. And then if you want to get out to the water over there, you've probably got another kilometre, so probably a few kilometres away. We'll be able to find that out when we fly the drone out there, so we have the distance and markers and everything. Few locations right now where there's water, so there's definitely a lot less water in Lake Eyre than I thought there'd be. But there's a few low spots, so and one of those low spots is right here. Wherever you can find water for any length of time, then there will be food and fish, and before you know it, you'll see some animals as well. Animals are few and far between right now. However, there are a few birds around here. Flies are starting to increase as the temperature goes up. Australia wonderful. Alright. How's it going? Bit of a problem?
You wouldn't have a winder that'll wind the spare down.
So the situation here is this guy here has got a flat tyre. It's always tyres. And in this case, it's the little mechanism that's used to lower the spare tyre. That's the issue. We don't have one of those for his car. And now we're improvising with all sorts of people coming by. And the flies are helping. They're coming in, really handy.
Alex and my husband Jamie, we've localised Sydney. We've got a tourism business in Sydney that's totally down 92%, no international business, so we have no business.
I know the story.
So we've headed bush, always wanted to do it, and this year's the time to do it. We're doing a lap around Australia, heading to wherever it is, William Creek.
William Creek, yeah.
We're in Carrot Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been away from home for 2 months.
2 months?
Another 6 months to go.
Fantastic. And then you're going right up to Darwin?
Yeah, up to Darwin, Arnhem Land, Nullarbor,
yep.
Gibb River Road, Cape Leveque. down
Excellent.
the west coast. Not wait for the world to come back, but go and do something positive for ourselves. So.
Any success?
No.
My sockets are too small.
Too small? Alright, I've got a whole bunch of socket sets, so I'll give that a go. When all else fails, read the instructions. And we found the doovie lackey.
The doovie lackey.
The doovie lackey. All good. Yep, thank you. Alright, so we're into the next task. Get the tyre down. It's tight. Not sure which way you have to go, either left or right. So in Outback Australia, you don't get punches, you get shreds.
You get shreds.
Which means the tyre becomes cactus, and not only do you have to have a spare, but you've got to find out how to replace the tyre somewhere.
And I think there's just as many flies on you, but they're actually landing on you.
What a pair! I just ate one. These seem to be the only ones that work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real well.
Let's see how that goes. Just find the right one.
Yep.
This is where the challenge starts, because they've always been like too tight.
Right. Yeah, they got kind of late.
Yeah, let me do it. Let me do it.
I don't want to.
Hang on.
Oh,
That's the sound you want.
Yeah, so I've already done one like this today, a couple of days ago. Maybe helped out someone.
What's your name again?
I was going to say, was it your car or somebody else's?
Someone else's.
Oh.
What? Do you want to have a go?
That nut is
Don't tell me
starting
it's
to
a lot.
round. It's starting to round off.
That's not good.
So, and it's so tight there. If we keep on going, we're going to round it off.
Ah, shit. Let's close.
So I might get my socket set and see whether we can bash on a socket.
Alex?
Alex, yeah, Sumitra,
There's another one.
and
Jamie.
Jamie. Okay. And there's Jack the Fly, Sam, Harry, and Harry's cousins.
Yeah, he brought a lot of cousins with him.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah, okay, a little mound of dirt, basically. Our normal lunch process, but our lunch process has changed slightly. Note there is a significant difference in headdress. It's called a net to keep the flies off. A difficult task, to say the least. To eat your sandwich and to have your fly net on. Oh! It's a convoy! 5, 6. Back up. Back up. Back up. Go back. So we're still heading towards William Creek. Only probably about 40-50 kilometres away now, but now the landform. These are called spring mounds. So a mound, basically, look at this. That area down there is anywhere between 4 and 10 to 15 metres below sea level. And then here, we're probably at about sea level, and the mounds are actually building, coming up. You can see all the material that's come up over the years, and got these springs coming up. 1/5 of Australia drains into this area, so all the water from Queensland basically filters down inland and into the Great Artesian Basin, which represents actually 1/5 of the land area of Australia. Welcome to the PD.
Oh, that's good funny song.
Well, we arrived in Kupiti last night, or yesterday afternoon. Had a wow of a time on top of the big winch 360. It's only been open for 3 weeks. Outstanding place, great food, great hospitality, and it's the best place to be in the evening for the sunset. Now today we've had a nice tour of about opal mining, the history and how it started in Kupiti. Umona Opal Museum. This is the best tour, and I suppose about education around opal and how it's created, formed, and what you do with it. And our tour guide was Zoe. She was great. Lots of excitement, really bubbly.
Technology, see it like captures the light. Usually my torch is going a bit dead here, but you can see sort of how it really picks up that colour or illuminates. Blinds you, but then you follow the seam. Another pocket. And then with the black light, you'll see it goes all the way. You can't really see. It's not as bright at the moment, my torch is going, but usually it's so bright, and yeah, you can sort of have an idea.
See the difference.
Yeah, it's cool. That's your potch.
One of the things to look out for in our journey across Simpson Desert is the Sturt Desert pea. A wonderful example of Sturt Desert pea, only grown in this region. So these are the seed pods. If you dry them out, there are seeds in there that eventually drop, and then this plant starts to grow. It seems to grow on the side of the road where it's been graded, but it just needs to obviously not be pulled up by the grader. Another day here to explore. It's Anzac Day, so we might go play some two-up. We still don't know whether Simpson Desert is open, but the consensus is that some of the roads accessing the west side of the Simpson Desert will open this weekend. So the plan is to go and head in Udnadada direction and then Mount Dare before we try and see how we can get across the Simpson Desert.
As we that are left grow old, age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
You spinner coming in. You spinner coming in. Have you done this before?
No, never.
All right.
Little things I should have said.
Go for right. Go for right. Spin it up. Here we go. Tail him up. Good spin. Sit down there. Like Winston. Get him up there. Good spin.
Our two tails.
Bummer.
There it is, the lucky
going-
points.
I've
already had 6 heads, going for 7.
There it is.
Go for his 7. Come on, baby. Get him up there. Good enough.
My biggest supporter over here. Jonesy's my biggest supporter. No one believed that 8 happened, so there's been a whole bunch of side bets.
What is? Anyone want to take on him? He's going for 8. Oh Lord.
For me to toss, I got to get someone to cover the bet.
Go for 8. Going for 8. Spin it up. Here we go. Tail him up. Good spin. Oh.
2 tails. I'm out. That's when you get kicked out. 2 tails. Whole bunch of sides. Someone covered the bet and got the money.
All right.
That was a lot of
We
fun.
need another spinner.
You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind.
fresh road. We have lost one of the electrical connections to the electric brakes on the trailer. A rock has come up and it's severed the wire. Normally I put a thick hose in these areas over the wires to stop the rocks from cutting them, but I didn't do this one. The other side is done. Reinforced water pipe and run the wires through that. That seems to be the only way that you can actually protect those wires from stones. So, oh well, we have to do a bush repair down there. Hopefully we won't have to do too many bush repairs. Let's go check out the roadhouse. I'm Peter.
Hi, I'm Tanya.
Tanya, we'll do that.
Lovely.
I'm doing a movie at the same
That's
time.
all right.
Yeah, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, not a problem at all.
So, do you ever get sick of pink?
No, pink's a very calming colour.
Ah.
Keeps us bright eyed and bushy tailed.
Especially when you get irate customers that come along.
Actually, we don't get those.
No?
What's that? I don't even know what that is.
That's good. How's it going? Okay. We're in search of flora and fauna of any kind, because that's what it's all about when you're going out travelling. But what we got here is a sturt desert pea. Very hard to find out in the bush, and usually on graded surfaces that have been touched for a while on the main road is where you can actually find it. And here we have a perfect example of the great Australian sturt desert pea. So it's beautiful colours. Much more water there is about, we will see, but apparently there is more water up north than there has been in the south, so time will tell.
I don't think that's very deep.
So since I haven't been on this track, the normal process is that you've got to sort of walk through the water. I find if you walk through barefoot, then you can sort of dig your toes into the water, into the dirt, and work out whether you've got a firm base. According to my calculations so far, if you just go through the middle, you should have a firm base. So, oh no, it's getting a bit deep here. My shorts may not be short enough. The great thing about these locations is there's no crocodiles. Things get a bit muddy here, but all in all, it's a firm base. So I'm confident that it's just a matter of just going straight through the middle. As always, it's always the case, through the middle, through the deepest area where the base is the firmest. Don't get distracted by sidetracks, is the rule. It's a waterhole. We're going up to Mount Dare. We have to sort of do a loop around some of the lake area, the river area, because it's all too boggy to get past through the other tracks. And we've got this fantastic location next to this billabong. Get that fire going early because the best place to stand to get away from the flies is here. Downwind with the heat and the smoke. There's not very much smoke because it's burning so nicely. Just in staying that little bit of heat, and there's no flies. Yes, no flies. We've got a crazy man here going for a swim. He might catch some fish for tonight's dinner. Any techniques for catching fish?
Yes, I'm going to remove my swimming costume underwater.
Let's see what bites.
And get excited. Oh, look how deep it is. I'm just standing.
Had a beautiful night at Aringa Waterhole. Beautiful colours, both sunset as well as sunrise. Really nice environment. Anyway, so we're heading towards Mount Dare, where we're going to get our desert pass for the Simpson Desert. Last fuel stop before we go on to Simpson Desert. We're on the Mount Dare to Dalhousie road, and this doesn't get repaired or graded too much, and there's some big washouts like this one here. Needless to say, you got to be careful when you're going through these parts and not go too fast, otherwise you could really end up trashing your vehicle. Pause. Yes, we've made it to Dalhousie Springs. We arrived here early, which means that you're in the heat of the day and also all the flies. Oh, yuck. But anyway, we're going to go for a swim now in the 37-degree Dalhousie Springs. There's dingoes all over the place around here. Don't leave your leather shoes out or any leather products because they'll be gone in the morning. And what other advice was there? Get attacked by a dingo, defend yourself aggressively. Maybe we'll even hear them howling tonight.
Oh, that's extraordinary. Oh, it's so bloody hot though. Me.
Mush.
Mush.
This makes you feel young, revitalised. I look like with a beard. Alright?
Yeah, not too bad actually. Shave the top of your head, grow a beard.
Okay, I'll do that. One of my favourite spots on the Simpson Desert Trek. Dalhousie, if you weren't aware, is on the west side of the Simpson Desert. 440 kilometres straight line across the French line to Birdsville, starting tomorrow. There are a few gribbly bits floating around the point.
That's just mud off the bottom.
It is mud off the bottom.
Because it was coming up around me on the other side.
Yeah. Alright.
There is no crapo naturel in this water.
There you go, still of the beer. We're heading proper Simpson Desert now. We just left Dalhousie Springs and we're leaving behind the salt pans and the spring mounds. There's so much water here. Still left over from, I guess, the heavy rainfalls. There's the lagoon down there. And you can see those salt crystals here. Yes. Beautiful salt crystals. Goes well with fly. How you doing, Vicki?
I'm doing good.
Do you want to go home?
I can't say that yet. No, I'm ready for a day in the desert. Maybe ask me at the same time tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll tell you how I feel.
I'm just fine, thanks. I'm looking forward to some catfish with Dalhousie spring salt.
We're at Perny Bore, so about 70 kilometres east of Dalhousie. And the rainfalls have been in the Simpson Desert probably, I don't know, a month or so ago, but there was quite heavy rainfall, probably all the rainfall that it normally gets in 1 year, or even a couple of years, fell in just a short period. And that's rejuvenated everything. It's made everything green in the Simpson Desert. So look at the stem there. It's just so thick with moisture. They almost look like little tomatoes. Incredible. This water coming out of the pipe here in Perny Bore is almost at boiling point. I'm not going to put my hands in there. As you would expect, there is a strong smell of sulphur that's around here as well. And you can see remnants of that, of all this dried up sulphur. And it's a honeycomb structure. And needless to say, I'm not going to taste it, but you can just see it's a honeycomb structure and fairly lightweight. So this hole here is sort of a sulphur field when the Perny Bore was just flowing out here. But now it's all been channeled up further. They've also restricted the flow. Apparently when it was flowing at its maximum rate, it was reducing the water at Dalhousie Spring. We've been coming on the French line that way, through the Rig Road and also part of the WAA line. We'll be heading towards Birdsville, which is about 388 kilometres away. It doesn't take much to get bogged on a little sand dune like this. Not enough momentum, or your tyres are too hard. So I think my tyres are too hard right now. And going to and backwards and forwards means that we've actually got bogged now. So we're going to use the max tracks to see if we can get them out. Let's hope. back again. Didn't quite have enough momentum. So we've got the sand ladders in place. The big problem right now is the rear tyre here. So I've dug that out a bit. And hopefully we can pull the car onto the front ladders and then pull it out. That's the plan. Alright, so success. What you do notice straight away with the sand tracks, okay, these ones are okay, but that one over there, I don't know if you can notice, but it's disappeared, so that's why I've got ropes on them. So follow the rope, and then you can find the track.
Just like skis in powder snow.
Go again. You come and stand here. You can feel the boost that you have when you get enough momentum so that the rear wheels get onto the front tracks, and then you get another boost to go forward. Anyway, well, we survived. We managed to get down part of the WAA line, and getting bogged us 3 times. Oh. But anyway, we got out. The tracks seem to be pretty sandy, particularly on top of the hills there, so going east is easier than going west. So the guys coming west, and there's been a few people coming west, so they've been really having some tough times getting up the east side of the slope of the dunes. We are here at a major feature in the Simpson Desert, and that's a long gum tree. This is a coolabah tree, a eucalyptus coolabah. And normally it's found in floodplains where there's a source of water, and it's on the edges of those sources. But the mystery, how come this gum tree is here in the middle of Simpson Desert where there's no obvious source of water, is still a mystery. We've been following some camel tracks. We've also been following some dingo tracks that have been here probably over the last few days. Well, evidence has turned up. Yeah, I reckon she's seen better days. But that's the wild for you. Well, we're, I think, officially day 2 into the Simpson Desert. And getting an early start, went down to 6 degrees last night. Bloody cold. So we've just gone down the rig road, and we're about to join the WAA line, which is heading due east. And I'm going to let the tyres down to about 25 at the back. It's at 35 right now, and down to about 20 at the front. And I can probably go down even further depending on how the conditions are, but the idea is to avoid getting bogged on those sand dunes or anywhere else, because that's just hard work. Vicky's gone silent in the back. It's a bit like that. When the children have gone silent, you start getting worried. Okay.
She starts laughing hysterically.
Laughing, that's right. Laughing is a good way to cover fear. The tricky bit, getting over this last little bit mound. And we get momentum going. Momentum, momentum, momentum. And we got through. Cross over there. So it went wide. Oh yeah. Camel spotting. Where? How far? Ah, We're sort of heading out of the Simpson Desert now, down the Rig Road, and we're heading towards the Birdsville track. It's probably going to be most of the day to get to the Birdsville track, and then it's a fast run back to Birdsville, to civilization as we know. There's been no one on the Rig Road, so we've had it all to ourselves, and lots of dingo tracks and camel tracks. The Simpson Desert is full of surprises and hidden treasures, and sometimes you get, I guess, distracted by the driving over the sand dunes and the salt pans and everything. But if you stop and you look closely at stuff, you will find treasures. And this is one of the most exciting treasures that I've found in the Simpson Desert, and that's an ancient seabed. The last remnants of seashells are still evident. It's amazing that this is still here. I guess most people just drive past and don't see that it's actually here. If you look closely here, you can see all these different seashells. It's amazing. All, I guess, bleached by the sun. Now we're at about sea level, just below sea level. We've been here for thousands, hundreds, millions, maybe years. I don't know how many years since water was in these parts. In addition to these small snails, you can actually see there are also some other shells here, and these are of clams. Large clams for lots of things. Cages are on empty. 20 odd kilometres to go. Everyone's watching the sunset. What can we do? What can we do?
I think we should go to Big Red.
And do Dalhousie
And I
again?
think we should tell anybody in the pub tonight who wants to know that it's okay to go to Dalhousie, but you can only go via the Birdsville track, K1 line, WAA and the Rig Road.
Okay, we'll tell them that. This is Little Red over here and Big Red's over there. So we're gonna attempt to do it, but first we had to let down the tyres. And I know from past experience, I've had to go really low with the Trippy. So here is the tyre. Does that look flat to you? You can see how much tread is actually touching the ground. The rear tyre I've got at 17 pounds per square inch. And the front tyre, looking at the tread there, we're looking at about 15 pounds per square inch. All going well, we should be able to get up in one go. So we'll try it out on a Little Red first. Make sure that everything's running smoothly. And assuming that all operates okay, we'll tackle Big Red as well. So we'll do Big Red now. So in second gear, low
Film
ratio.
going up.
No, to me. This is filming here, just for me.
Right.
So all we're doing is just second gear. We've got the tyres already low. Come back here this way. Sorry. And then, so all we're doing is just second gear, low ratio, and then we've got the last little bit here, and we're going to go straight up. Straight up and over. Look at that. And then we've got a little soft sand here. So we're going to go over this stuff here. And then we'll finish off at the very crest here, overlooking, and
Oh my god.
that's it. Now you're gonna hop out. And I think he's got the momentum. Look at that. Piece of cake. Woo! And he's done it. Whoa! We successfully got up here in one piece, and now we're going to go back down, and we're going to go down this steep slope here. Third gear, low ratio. Here we go.
Close my eyes too.
And then we just maintain the nice momentum, and it just steers itself down the hill. Just like
It's
that.
like the Big Dipper, isn't it?
Did you keep your eyes open, Vicky?
Hear that?
I did, didn't
Hear
you
that
hear me?
released laughter.
Well done. So we're heading to Inaminka from Birdsville, Cordillo Downs track. Looks like it's been graded recently, so it's in really good condition. We're making good progress. The plan is to bush camp and get some more starry nights before we head down to Cameron's Corner and Tibooburra. Well, we're coming towards the end of our adventure out into the Simpson Desert and the desert regions. So we're just coming out down the old Strzelecki track from Inaminka, and everything's so green. Right now we found a drier spot, but life's full of surprises. And here is the next surprise, and that is a blue tree. Blue, literally, blue tree. Things just appear in the desert, and that's a feature for the day. Blue tree. Interesting seeing the little finches here sticking out. Very much like a blue tree, I think. Very comfortable. We're heading down the old Strzelecki track as opposed to the new one, and this one doesn't get graded at all. So depending on what's happening, we've got water in there. But there are a number of side tracks, so going is pretty easy. We're going to camp along here somewhere, further up where there's no water, less mozzies hopefully. Our way to Tibooburra, and there's still a lot of water around the place, and there's this salt pan that's always been dry. It's never been wet when I've come across. Anyway, we made it. I don't know where others are going, because there are tracks that lead nowhere into the water, so obviously they get bogged. Some have gone in that direction. Others might have gone right around the lake. We found out where everyone went. There's a side track, and we must have missed the side track on the other side. Oops. Whoa, can't believe it. Change of temperature. 16 degrees now, and now we're heading back towards Sydney and the Snowy Mountains from Tibooburra. Heading towards Burke. That will be probably the last of the dirt before we hit the tarmac again, and on our way back to Sydney. Anyway, it's been a great adventure getting out there in the bush. Oh, it's going to get colder again, I suppose, and hope you've enjoyed the journey. See you on the next trip. Cheers.